Hello, my name is Blake Patterson, and welcome to Real Values. On this week's episode, I discuss The Iron Claw. In Wong Kar-wai's Chungking Express, Cop 223 narrates, "We're all unlucky in love sometimes. When I am, I go jogging. The body loses water when you jog, so you have none left for tears." Cop 223's narration would speak to the young men in Sean Durkin's The Iron Claw and their eventual tragedy. In his last two features, Durkin has shown a vital interest in the psychology of his characters and how it informs their behavior. The Iron Claw may be his most accessible effort in its communication, but the movie is as powerful and nuanced as Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene. Based on the true story of the Von Erich family, Durkin's consideration of facts proves beneficial in his decision to omit the family's youngest family member, Chris, due to the notion of the movie collapsing with another tragedy rhythmically. The alteration sounds questionable initially until the audience experiences Durkin's adaptation. Artfully directed and emotionally gripping, The Iron Claw is a study of the spiritual fusion between masculinity and the American dream under the guise of family. Opening in elegant black and white cinematography by Matthias Erdely, Durkin begins with Fritz von Erich's time as a wrestler and his indulgence in paying for a Cadillac when he wants his success to lead to paying for a home. There is an argument between Fritz, played by Holt McCallany, and his wife Doris in front of their two oldest sons, Jack Jr. and Kevin, and Fritz displays dominance in his beliefs by telling his two sons to be the best and strongest at what they do. Through this sequence, the audience recognizes how Doris is wiser in thinking about the situation because there is a subliminally unfair expectation to trust the father due to his physical strength and ego. Even though Jack Jr. died when he was 6, those words remained significant to Kevin and his younger brothers as their father indoctrinated them to achieve the title he never earned. Known widely for their familial curse due to Jack's death and their ancestors, the young men are taught to believe there is a curse if they fail in wrestling. Through these moments, Durkin examines the depth of a delusional father's damage toward his children by making them believe in a mythologically familial idea to distract from his control in their lives. Of the siblings, Kevin, played by Zac Efron, and David, played by Harris Dickinson, are the wrestlers, with the former being traditionally unsophisticated and more built, and David being less muscular and more eloquent in diction. Carrie, played by Jeremy Allen White, is planning to compete in the 1980 Summer Olympics, as shown in a moment of Carrie throwing a disc, until the boycott happens, and the skinny Mike, played by Stanley Simons, is an aspiring musician who unfortunately lives within a sports-oriented family, even though Fritz quits his potential as a clarinetist. On the surface, these characters sound like archetypes, but Durkin and his remarkable cast transcend these barriers. Before the tragedies within the movie occur, there is an exciting sense of fun and play among the family, even when Kevin takes some bruises in the ring. The overwhelming energy of those scenes conveys the love these brothers have for each other, as Kevin hopes to take care of them for the rest of his life. Aspiring veterinarian Pam Atkinson, played by Lily James, finds Kevin appealing and hopes to have a family with him one day. As the relationship progresses, Pam's compassion and patience try to cut through the confines of Kevin's self-torment regarding the faultiness of the family curse. Unlike Doris, Pam crosses through the barriers of Kevin's internal conflict when he realizes his father's plans are self-destructive. Kevin takes on the role of being there for his two children and making food for them when Pam is at work. Through an intestinal rupture and 2 suicides, the tragedy of the Von Erich story is shocking for those who are unaware of the real-life situation. Relating to Cop 223's narration from Chungking Express, the wrestling matches become an exercise to release their frustrations against their opponents rather than crying to own up to the false image of stoic masculinity. Durkin's handling of the material exhibits the emotional shift between lightness and morbidity in the same way as Paul Thomas Anderson's Boogie Nights, another complex American portrait. Both features capture the specificity of their cultures and how their characters reinforce it through their versions of the American dream. In the final confrontation between Kevin and Fritz over Fritz not caring for the suicidal Carrie, Kevin releases his deep-seated rage against Fritz on the ground before realizing how his violence would make him the product of his father's dominant presence. Kevin acknowledges how his decency is stronger than Fritz's cold-hearted self. Durkin develops a sequence later where Fritz walks into his house expecting dinner from Doris, played by Maura Tierney, and finds it surprising when she is painting again instead of cooking for him. After these tragedies, Doris finally subverted Fritz by referring to her past passion for painting. By having art triumph over sports, human sensitivity reveals itself against the myopic nature of machismo. In one sequence, Durkin beautifully creates a set piece involving Carrie's afterlife and reconnecting with David, Mike, and Jack Jr. On the surface, the afterlife would take the viewer out of the experience due to the additional dimension beyond real life. However, the sequence earns its sentiment through the beauty of Durkin's images and the performances. When Kevin cries in front of his 2 sons, he apologizes for breaking down in front of them because he no longer has his brothers. Kevin's sons tell him it is okay to cry because they cry and can be spiritual brothers to him. Transcending factual story conventions, the Iron Claw exists as 2 deconstructions, the appreciative but critical demonstration of wrestling and the psychological and behavioral complexities of masculinity and how these factors relate to American idealism. Thematically substantial and stylistically alluring, Durkin solidifies himself as an auteur interested in the internal lives of people one may only understand superficially. While Rocco and His Brothers is on another level, Durkin's exploration of the masculine ego is worthy of Visconti. Thank you for watching this video. Have a great night.